I never know.
It's live.
Okay, let's see if we're actually showing up.
Okay.
Yay! We're showing up. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
I'm going to share this sucker out in a minute, but first I want to say hi to everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Happy Sunday. I'm here with Daisy Farrell. Daisy, what is your title now? Is it medium? Is it healer? What do you call yourself now?
For right now, I mean, I still stick with medium right now, but
Yeah.
And as we'll talk, I mean, it's a lot more than that, but that's definitely still what I consider my title for now. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I was thinking, like, you do so much more than just mediumship, so much more. All right, so say hi if you guys are hopping on. I'm just sharing this to a couple groups. Today, we are going to chat about Daisy's journey. We're going to talk about kind of where she started and where she is now. And I've been so blessed to be working with Daisy as a client for a long while now. And it's just really good for people to get an understanding of what does this work actually look like and feel like behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
From people who are actually experiencing it. I mean, of course, I've experienced it and I share my experience, but to be able to have that from somebody who's a client of mine can be really, really helpful. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
How's everybody feeling today? Because Daisy and I almost feel a little bit like we've been knocked over by a truck. This new moon in Capricorn energy is so strong and palpable so far. I'm just like, after this, I'm going into the Akashic records and I'm just gonna like journal and clear and heal.
That's a good one. That's a good idea.
Exactly.
I think that's a whole
so anyway, yeah, exactly. So Daisy started out, she's worked with me at many different levels. She's worked with me individually. She's worked with me in like a smaller, more intimate group. She's worked with me in the certification program. So she's a really good person to ask questions about the different levels of work and the different things that you get out of the different levels, right? Hi, Sherry. Hi, Anita. Good to see you. So Daisy, I want to talk first about, because if you guys have read the intro to this video, you know that she's enormously expanded her intuitive abilities and her psychic abilities. She's expanded her offerings to clients. She's gotten more clarity, a lot more clarity on what she's offering, to the point of like shifting her branding and even her company, and just feeling much more empowered, right? Needing less validation because she's got it from spirit, from this relationship with her Akashic record. So we're going to be talking about all that today and just kind of how she got to this point. So can you just share what the original reason was that you sought out connection with me? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So as people that know me or follow me, a lot of them will already know that I have a history of addiction, an eating disorder, depression, anxiety, the whole smorgasbord of all of that fun stuff. So for a very long time, going into my early 20s, I was a mess. I had a lot going on and I was still trying to get sober at that time. I think when I had first met Laura was when I had just been introduced to AA and I wasn't actually like totally all in with sobriety yet. So I was just really kind of lost, to be honest. I was very confused. I was in the middle of graduating college for art and that felt good. But at the same time, other than that, I was very just disjointed in a lot of ways. I didn't really have a true purpose that I felt totally aligned with. My relationships weren't great. I just in general, I just felt very kind of lost in a lot of ways. I think because of course, trying to get sober and having this whole thing kind of shake my whole world up of kind of like, hey, the way you've been doing things for a long time isn't right or isn't working anymore. And then you're kind of like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go from here? And what do I do? I think it's just, you become very lost and very kind of helpless. So Laura initially got introduced to me from that. And we immediately clicked like right away. We just understood each other so much. I just felt like I had known her forever. I know that we're definitely part of like some soul group, for sure. And I mean, just working with her from the beginning was amazing for me. She was the best therapist I had ever had in my entire life. And I've been to a lot of therapists. And she was there, kind of through my whole journey of getting sober. And for a long time, you know, I definitely struggled. I relapsed a lot of times, but finally, when I got my footing into that program and everything, she kind of saw me really change, and she saw this whole process of me really figuring out who I was again and kind of developing this relationship with myself that I had never even really had before. That was just so empowering and so exciting and so just expansive in every way. And it's just so perfect because it just naturally progressed
Yeah.
into mediumship and into all the things that I'm doing now. And honestly, Laura's like the main reason I did that. So I'm just forever grateful for her because no one else really, I mean, I had people that would definitely be supportive, but she just pushed me to explore it deeper. Because for a long time, I was one of those people that, you know, I think it was always there. I was definitely born with those abilities, but I never really thought that I was going to do that as a profession, or, you know, it was something that I could really do. I just thought, well, I'm into that stuff and I've had some weird experiences, but whatever. I never thought anything of it. But she was the person that really was like, no, I really think there's something here that you need to look into. And she was right. She was very, very right. So it was, yeah, I mean, it was so crucial for my development for all of this and kind of starting that whole path.
And I so remember that conversation too,
Yeah.
because you had this like crippling level of anxiety that just wasn't lifting, you
No.
know? And and then I remember that conversation when we were both like, this is not anxiety. Like you are experiencing communication from other realms. Like you're having all of these beings around you and you don't know how to manage it. And it was like you would see things and you would have things come out, you know, and you were very confused and
Mhm.
you were very much like, you know, scared about it, of course, but
Yeah.
also like, what is this and what do I do with it and how do I manage this? Because it felt insurmountable. Like it felt like, how do I manage the spirit world? Like, are you kidding me? Like, how can I control having all these people come into my field? And it just feels like, you know, and so it just, your gifts started to develop and it
Mhm.
started to become more obvious that when that development, I guess, cycle or
Yeah.
pattern would come forward, your anxiety would skyrocket.
Yep.
And we started noticing this pattern. We were like, wow, you know? And that's when really that was a huge turning point for you to feel like you could start not only having a context and understanding of it, but start to manage it and like
Yep.
use it for forwarding yourself, not only personally, but in your business and creating something. And the number of times I lit a fire under your ass, I'm like, Daisy, why are you not offering sessions yet? You're phenomenal. Because literally, she's saying like we're so connected, like on this soul path too, because I've been to many, many mediums, and Daisy is, she by far just blows me away. Because it's also like it's just natural. Like it's literally just who she is, you know? It's not like
Right.
somebody taught her how to do that step by step. It was just this natural ability that when you do have it and it's that deep, it can be really confusing if you haven't been exposed to that world or don't know much about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how I felt. I was just, and for a long time too, just like I didn't feel confident and I just had so much self-doubt too, I think for such a long time. And that's all part of that process. But yeah, I was just really overwhelmed, like you were saying, and I just didn't know really what to do with it either. Yeah. Hmm.
I know, I felt the same way when I found this work. I was
Right.
like,
And yeah, I
because
think a lot of people do.
it's like you were saying before we even jumped on, when we were chatting a bit before we went live, like this world is so big. Like
Yeah.
the spiritual world is infinite. The ways to access it are infinite. The ways to get information are infinite, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, not only how do I do this and what does this look like, but who can I trust?
Yeah. Big
Because
one.
sometimes there's some sketchy stuff going on out there, you
I've had
know? And it's,
your share of it. Yeah.
yes, me too. Oh my gosh, I've had
Yeah.
readings that are like, what the hell is this? Hi, Shannon. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's scary. Like, and that's something that, but I'm so glad because both of us do this now. You know, we try to really help people find a safe space to learn, to expand, to explore all that they want to explore with this work. Because unfortunately, this is a very big world out there with this kind of work, and there's a lot of mixed messages out there, and a lot of kind of defeating messages too. I mean, I've heard so many horror stories of people just feeling really kind of defeated from having sessions with other people or
Oh
something,
yeah.
you know, as opposed to feeling empowered and like they can really do it. So it's such a passion of mine to be able to really fix that, and try to create a space that's going to be offered for people that isn't going to do that to them.
Absolutely. And you hold such a safe space for that. And that's why I like teaching so much as a modality and doing these kinds of programs, because it's teaching people skills to empower themselves
Yeah.
rather than just being that conduit for healing. I mean, that's fine. Like I do one-off sessions with people, but it's only for people who I haven't already worked with, because really my passion and my mission is to really help people do this on their own, because I've been in the mental health world for almost 20 years and I've seen how much codependency exists between therapists and their clients. I've seen how much codependency exists within the mental health system. And, I have seen the big shift and difference, not only in my clients, but just in my own work, doing my own work with this, how empowering it is to say, wow, I really know this skill inside and out, like intimately. And then you don't need me anymore.
Right. Right.
You do your thing, and in fact teach other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So were there any things that kind of got in the way for you before you were, because, well, you know what, let me back up for a second,
Mhm.
because we talked about meeting one-on-one, we talked about meeting in like more of an intimate group. You did that astral travel
Yes.
course that I did, Ascend, and then the certification program. So what kind of motivated you to continue this work?
Yeah, well, so I think what was so good for me was just that, especially just with as far as like working with you, like I had other classes and people that I worked with for mediumship, and all of them have been very valuable and great for many different reasons. But I think one of the things, especially for me, that was just kind of also just a unique thing for me was that for a long time, and you were part of this journey too when we were kind of figuring this out. For a long time, I just kept getting this feeling, especially as I expanded, as I started working with people and offering this as a service, things started to change over time.
Mhm.
And the way that I would receive information would change, the way that I would just read people would change.
Mhm.
And of course, in this work, that's a very normal thing, but it just felt more than just like, oh, the way I'm receiving like symbols is changing a little bit. Or, oh, like the way it was a little more than that. It was actually a lot more than that. It
Mhm.
wasn't just kind of like this small change in the way I was receiving things. And I think what was so great about working with you is just that, especially just with the Akashic Records and everything that you do, it's so much more expansive than just mediumship. And
Yep.
again, mediumship is fabulous. It's great. And there are people that just stick with that, and that's amazing. But again, with me, I just kept feeling much more pulled to, okay, Daisy, like there's more to this, and there's a
Mhm.
lot more that you need to explore and to offer people. So being able to work with you helped me kind of find that a little bit
Mm.
and explore it and go deeper into that, because for a long time I was kind of like, I don't really know what to do with this. And I think it was also making me feel uncertain of myself, because I had very much like a foundation of evidential mediumship and very traditional mediumship, which was great to get me going. But then it started to make me feel like I was like breaking the rules, or
Oh yeah.
yeah, like going against what I should be doing. And that caused kind of this internal freak out a little bit, because it was like, what am I doing? But as I did Ascend, that was such a good program for me,
Mhm.
because it was just, I had had a little bit of time with other teachers that weren't exclusively mediums, and they started to bring out other things where I was like, whoa, this is something I never even like thought about. So I had had a little taste of that. So then working in that program with you just really helped clarify a lot of what I had been receiving and getting little bits of stuff from. Because from doing just my own practice and also just working with others, I constantly was getting different symbols and signs and things that were coming through. But working with you in that program allowed me to really break it down more and to get a lot more clarity on what I was being guided towards.
Right. And the fact, and that's, I remember being like, you have to do this program because
Yeah,
it's so aligned with you finding your soul's origin, you having an origin from another star or another
right.
planet, right? And that feeling of like, I don't necessarily feel like I fully fit in here, or,
Mhm.
I've always felt a little different, or, is let's get a context and an understanding of that for your soul's origin, because it just ran so much deeper. And Yeah, there are so many times that you'd say, I love mediumship and you're obviously so phenomenal at it, but there felt like something was it felt like something was
Yeah.
missing for you.
Right.
Like you just kind of felt like that restless, like, I don't know, this just doesn't feel
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
And that's such a strong testament to your intuition, how
Mhm.
in tune you are with your own energy field and your own soul to know just feels a little off. And you're curious enough, right? You're open and curious enough to be like, no, I want to know because I'm
Yeah.
not okay with feeling this level of restlessness. Because
Mhm.
you could just say, screw it, I'm just going to do mediumship for the rest of my life and you'll be wildly successful.
Right.
But there was that part of you that was just like, I don't know. And what we've
Yeah.
really been able to find is how much of a healer you are. And
Mhm.
like it's not just mediumship, like you have an enormous capacity to heal.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh yeah, and this ability to tap into the people that I'm sitting with, like their soul.
Yeah.
And again, like as I went on with this course, I just started to open up so much more to guides of mine and past lives and ancestral connections. And it was really cool because it also tied really well into as I got certified to do trance mediumship,
Mm,
that had also really expanded kind of this more free flowing ability of just allowing whoever wants to share their wisdom with me to come through. That was like something else that was just so helpful for me because it was something different than evidential mediumship. Get
yeah.
someone, who do you got? Here's all your evidence, whatever. Instead, this was more just I'm surrendering to whatever spirit really needs me to connect to.
Mhm.
So tying that all in, it just really helped with your program and with everything, and just expanded so much of what I was receiving, and it got me really in tune with also just other healing modalities that I could offer people,
Right.
like Reiki and tools that I could create as well, and also a lot of symbols and stuff that I started to bring through, and a lot of automatic writing was a big one that
Yeah.
especially in your course really started to come through very
Yeah.
strongly. Mhm.
I know, and keep your eyes peeled, friends. In the next few years, I'm trying to kick Daisy into starting her own mediumship school for
That's
people
my plan, yeah.
for people who are not just wanting to do evidential mediumship.
Mhm.
She would be amazing at it. It's like for those people who don't fit into the mold. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. Because we don't. We're never going to fit into a mold. We're all.
Mhm.
I always say this. We're all snowflakes, right? We're all different geometric
Yeah,
patterns and
right.
in our own way. So, all right. So, did you have any hesitations or concerns about doing the certification program in particular after
Sure.
going through this work together?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think for me, and I think we were talking about this earlier, it's just, again, with anybody, it's just, I mean, regular just fear, I think, in general, and fear of owning this next level of work and this new potential and this new opening up to things. But one thing that I'm happy about is just kind of one thing that's always been a part of me is that I tend to be really fearless, and I will get fearful of things for a time. But when I know deep down, that it's the right choice, I just do it regardless of how I feel. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely had some hesitations or fears. And I think another thing too, again, was like, there's still that piece of me that's stuck on my evidential mediumship kind of teachings. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think, well, you should be focusing on this maybe, or, it's a little bit conditioned in me.
Mhm.
So I'm sure that was also a piece of it. Like, what are you really doing? Or why are you doing this? And but the thing is that's so great. It's just the more that I've worked with you, the more that I've done the courses, the more that it all just blends so seamlessly together and it all just makes sense. And if anything, too, I think that's the other thing that I wanted to touch on is just that it's expanded my mediumship. It's made my
Oh yeah.
mediumship so much better, honestly, than probably other traditional classes would have. Because I think that's one of the things with the way that I do mediumship, just like you were saying, it is very natural to me. The way that I've always connected, because that was the thing, like the first time that I ever had someone guide me into connecting, once that happened for me, I could just do it. And it just made sense to me. It was like a
Mhm.
switch that was there and it just needed to be turned on.
Mhm.
And then I understood how it was. And a lot of the times when I bring three people through, I feel that I'm kind of embodying them. I feel like I am them, and I often will see a lot of stuff through their own eyes, and I'm like in their body. A lot of times from the stuff that they show me. So, from the way that I read, that's very kind of different or unique. Is just that it blends well with the other work, and it
Yeah.
helped level it up and just expand it more. And then I would be able to kind of take this whole connection in mediumship for a client. And often now, and that tends to be a very common pattern in my readings, is just that they'll give me this whole line basically of how they were raised. And it often will go back like 2 generations or so
Right.
to show all of kind of why they became who they were. And then this would expand into ancestral healing, and this would
Right.
right, and past lives and different things like this. So really, it felt really great to do the program because it just made
Yeah.
sense for me at the time. So yeah.
Well, and I think what I think I was just telling somebody about this a couple of days ago, actually, because I was talking about why I love the Akashic record so much, like over other modalities, because I'm Reiki certified as well. But and I love Reiki, it's great, but it didn't. I love how you described it as a switch, because that's kind
Yeah.
of how it felt for me. You
Yeah.
know, when I found the records, it was like a switch, and it's like I'm able to be in this nice, fuzzy, warm, divine feminine energy, right? Where I'm like whatever and all over the place, but
Yep.
at the same time that I'm given structure. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about the records in
Yeah.
particular, is because it's not just this like free flowing, whatever's going to come to you is going to come to you. Like the entire universe is now opened up and it's going to pour into the top of your head. You
Mhm.
know, it's like I'm able to experience this in a safe space that's also contained. And I think you were even saying earlier before we got on, that has really allowed you to kind of bring it down to earth and make it, I can't think of the word, accessible,
Mhm.
more easily integrated into human life, into day to day, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that was the other thing, is that as my practice expanded and what I was offering people, a lot of it came down to a lot of also just shadow work. And that also is what kind of shifted my whole business. And I'm actually going to be launching that this week for everyone. So I'm excited. But that's what's so exciting, because that doing this work in the Akashic records with you is really what got me to that point. It's what helped me
Mhm.
understand this bigger picture of what spirit is really wanting me to do and
Mm.
what they want me to offer. But a lot of the stuff that kind of also started this, I mean, it had started a little bit, but really helped solidify was in your Ascend course. And
Mhm.
that was when I was getting all of these symbols of Aboriginal culture and
I
things that I
know.
was understanding about shadow work and retrieving shadow work for people. There was a lot of stuff about going underground and
Mm.
in the soil of like someone's soul, basically, and kind of accessing these pieces that are always there and have always been there, but just haven't been activated yet or haven't been looked at yet. And so a big part of what I'm trying to offer people now is helping them realize that they've been born with everything already in them. They don't
Mm.
need this external thing to get it or to make it work. And it's so much a matter of just finding the right techniques or the right things to just help them click in their mind, you know, to see like, oh, I get that now. Or just to help them better understand their human experience and why certain things have happened to them, why they latch on to certain things maybe and have a hard time moving forward with certain things. All different, just learning all these little tiny pieces about ourselves that we often overlook or
Mhm.
often don't realize hold a much bigger key to who we are and our fullest potential as a soul in a human experience. So
And
yeah.
that's where your like curiosity and your motivation and your own being in tune with yourself comes in, is because you were able to say, like, I'm itching to know there's more, right? I have that restlessness and I'm not going to just ignore it. Like I'm curious to explore it. And I think through that shadow work that you did, that's where you secured the most empowerment,
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think, for sure, you know, which of course impacts your personal life
Hmm.
in other ways too, like with your relationships and just how you feel about yourself and your body and your mood and, you know, all of the day to day.
Hmm.
Um, even aside from your business development
Oh
that you've
yeah.
made.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean it's challenged me. I've been through doing all of this work, and that's what was so kind of cool about. I mean, getting sober and then going into this, it all kind of seamlessly went together.
Yeah.
Because you know, going through sobriety and all of that was really a big part of it. Was finding a higher power, just understanding that there's something bigger than me, and opening up to that, and then also kind of clearing out all the toxins or things that were fogging my mind.
Yeah.
but then being able to step into this other phase, it just brought it all together in this way that wouldn't have happened if I didn't explore that. I think that's
Yeah.
the other thing. And that's also something that I'm so passionate about, is that often, I mean, so often, a lot of people that are sensitive or have abilities of some kind tend to be addicts too, or have at least suffered some form of an addiction in their lifetime. And that's something that I also am just very passionate about, helping people realize that that can be a key to further just expanding all of this stuff in them. Because I also really love working with kind of the steps and everything, but taking them to this other level spiritually
Mm,
and expanding that. And because they tie in together so well.
so
And the
well.
thing, it's just as I started to open up to all of this work and everything, it helped me see, because I had all of these realizations about myself doing step work in the traditional way, but when I opened up to my abilities and all of this work, I started to see, oh, but this is so much bigger, or this is expanding this understanding like way more than I ever realized. And it's such an exciting experience to go
Hmm.
through and to explore with yourself too. And the Akashic records really provide that space for you to
Yeah.
just explore and not worry about what you're getting, what does it mean right away, or anything. Just being a lot more of an open channel in general of just what you're receiving.
Yeah, I love it. It's been so beautiful to watch this kind of develop
Yeah,
and grow for you. And I am so excited about what you're bringing forward to everybody. I can't wait for people to see it.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And so, is there anything else that you want to share just about the certification program in particular, just about like the process or
Mhm.
areas where you're like, oh, this was hard, but this is
Sure.
what I got out of like any lessons
Oh
in
yeah.
particular that kind of came forward from that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really loved the way that it was structured. I think it was like perfectly structured in just the way that you carried us through everything. And I think a big part too was just having to being able to connect with like-minded people
Yeah.
in this program is so invaluable, and such a huge piece of it to me was just having that connection as a group and
Yeah.
being able to have feedback from other people as well, because that's also I think what takes it to this other level as well, is just being able to bounce these ideas off of each other,
Yeah.
being able to help each other expand even more and push each other has been such a big part of that. It's so much more than just doing it for yourself, which is great,
Right.
but just having that community in general has been such a big piece of it and has really helped me, because for me, and I'm sure a lot of people can I mean agree with this, in any kind of spiritual life of any kind in this kind of work can be very isolating,
Yeah.
and it can feel very lonely sometimes, and I was definitely feeling that. I've definitely been through that. So being able to just have a group of people that are more understanding of that stuff was so helpful. And I think also one thing that really helped me was just being able to kind of dip your toe into all these different facets of the Akashic records
Yep.
in each week was so good for me. And I really liked how you did that, of just being able to kind of get this little experience every
Mhm.
week that you could all kind of tie together and to
Yeah.
really help you better understand how you can offer that for other people as well.
Right, like how it connects with your own unique niche. That's one of my favorite parts is being able to like determine who they are at the beginning, right? And then at the
Right.
end to be able to see these people are like, yeah, I'm just doing this for me. Shh, like I'm just doing this for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then by the end they're like, I don't feel like it's right for me to not share this with people, and like starting to realize see how much it shifts them, but and also to see that through the 16 people that were in this course last round, everybody's got a different niche. Like one's very heart centered, one's sound healing, so yours the mediumship angle, and everybody's got their own niche that they find. And it's so cool to see how the Akashic records use different people based on their own energetic blueprint, their own skills and talents, their
Yeah.
own personality, their level of connection. And that's what's so fascinating is
Yeah.
that we're always uncovering new ways that the Akashic records work with us. Like even I was talking to one of the students in their one-on-one yesterday. And we were like, yeah, you may not be somebody who does readings for other people.
Mhm.
You may end up coming at this from a different angle, like you're holding space and you're doing healings and a
Right.
different, like that's more leaning back and less,
Yep.
I guess, less structured, right? And less like asking questions and giving specific answers. So it's allowing yourself to be open to the fact that this space and the Akashic records will use you in whatever way you are meant to for advancing your soul's purpose, advancing the vibration of the planet.
Right.
Because again, like Daisy said, it's not just about us. Like it's not just about you. And that's why I always say that I work with mission driven souls, because I really want people who have a vision that's just greater than themselves. Even if they're kind of stuck in, oh, like Daisy and I have in common our chronic illness issues that we've dealt with over the years. And that's one of the things that has been a hesitation for me in signing up for programs. And
Sure.
the really one of the only main hesitations for her signing up for this one too is like, where's my energy level? How much can I tolerate? You know, like tuning into yourself in that way and just realizing like how much we can take control of that
Yeah.
going forward. And to realize that we're all, that comes forward for a reason, and that we're all vehicles for spirit. And it's not, yes, I might have illness or I might have mental health stuff that's coming up that I need to heal and clear in this program, but I at least know that that's going to expand to other people.
Oh yeah, and just also that we've both shared this a lot of just that all of this work is what's helped our chronic illnesses.
Oh yeah.
And as much as it's been sometimes a block or something that causes hesitation, whenever we just go for it, or we expand ourselves or allow ourselves to receive that work and what it can do, I always feel 100 times better after doing an amazing reading or after having a session in the Akashic Records. It just gives me this energy that I can't explain. And that it's amazing feeling. It's just this natural kind of high that you can't really replace with anything else. And it's such a wonderful thing. And yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, I loved how you explained all of that, of just that it's such a unique thing of just how it doesn't have to be for any one type of person. And that's what I also love about the Akashic Records, is that I think it's a little bit easier to use that for somebody that feels like they don't know what their niche is yet, or they don't know how to figure that out. Because I feel like for people that want to expand their intuition, sometimes maybe like a traditional evidential medium class or psychic class can feel almost like disheartening or kind of difficult, or just like, this doesn't feel right, or I'm not quite connecting with this, and feeling kind of limiting too. So that's what I really like about the Akashic Records, is that it can really be a lot easier, I think, for people to realize like how much they can just use it for anything. Because I really try to like share that with people for their own ability, their own intuition, and that not everybody needs to be a professional medium. You know, even if they may have some of that gift or that ability, it can be used as a nurse or as a teacher in any profession really at all. And honestly, that's the way it should be. Because I think the other thing that I really try to help people with or share with people is just that you being unique and you offering your own gifts and your own abilities in your way is what really the world needs. We don't need 100 of the same medium. That's just not helpful. And
Because because again, we're all so unique. And so we're going to be drawn to different people and different modalities and different ways of being. And so, you know, there's people out there that are waiting just for you and your unique blueprint and the way you do things. There's people out there who are waiting just for me. There's people out, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, not holding yourself back because of your own fears, because you're doing those people a disservice because they're waiting for you, right? Like they're ready for you. And so I loved when Daisy was talking about that she's always been kind of fearless, because it's funny because I have always been more fearful of taking steps like that. And I learned by experience, like I learned by realizing that when I just jumped and was like, all right, let's see. Because at the time, unfortunately for me, it took serious illness to be able to motivate me to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity, because I was like, well, what the hell do I have to lose? I feel like crap anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so for me, it was like, I wasn't okay with settling for where my life was. My life was good. I just had this health stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I just, like you said, I just kind of knew there was more. There was something missing. I was feeling restless. And just when you take that jump, that's why I was saying, like, I love that you're a model for other people in that way, that, I'm just kind of a fearless soul, because that's where we get the most change and the most, honestly, the most connection to our intimate selves and like just happiness. And it's because we're showing the universe and we're telling the universe that we trust it to like respond and to hold us up. And it's a brave choice. It really is, but it pays off in dividends.
Oh, it's so worth it. It's so worth
Oh,
it. And that's why I also just love shadow work, or just helping people with that stuff. Just any
yeah.
of the things that they find is negative about them, or is like something that's caused them to not live their full life. I love being able to show somebody that they can flip that around and can turn all of the negative things that they think are bad into assets, because they
Yeah.
all can be. And I think that's just something that I get so excited about helping people with, because
Hmm.
I've just seen how much it's done that for me. And
Hmm.
I mean, I don't want to just, I want to share that with people, because it's such an
Absolutely.
amazing experience, especially being somebody that really thought for so long, like that I can't be this, or I can't be that, or I can't be this bold person or whatever. I really believe that that's just who I was. And it's not true. And being
Hmm.
able to realize that that's all stuff that we can dig into, and really
Hmm.
find our strength in. And it's just so
Yeah.
exciting to be able to offer
I
that.
know. I did the same thing. I was like, yeah, I am just going to be an anxious person for the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
right,
It
right.
runs in my family. It's just who
Yeah.
I am, whatever.
Mhm.
And I was okay with it though. Like I had come
Oh
to
yeah,
a level of acceptance with it. I was like, that's
right.
fine. Like I'm still happy. I'm just going to be somebody who's anxious.
Yeah.
And little did I know that there was so much more out there for me to explore and realize that just released that for me.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember the first time I had that moment where I didn't feel any anxiety. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like it was like a level of stillness and
Right.
ease that I had never accessed. And I was like, I'm telling everybody about the Akashic records.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Right.
Like it was just, it's just done so much for me.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I know that you're going to be rolling out next steps in your business, and you have already talked about like kind of this has gotten you to a point where you've up leveled what you're offering. You've
Right.
expanded what you're offering. You're very, very clear and much more confident on what you're bringing forward and excited about it,
Oh
passionate,
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So what we're going to do here guys is we're going to share a link in the comments for the certification program because the next round starts next week. And this one actually is going to have even more support along the way with group coaching calls with because you're going to I'm not going to be doing the teaching. You're going to be able to learn through digital modules. And I also have to say that I truly know that this is one of the most comprehensive programs for learning to read your Akashic records out there.
Oh
I've
yeah.
pieced things together from other programs in addition to my own downloads from the records. And I feel very, very confident that my students are prepared for whatever they choose to do with it,
Right. Right.
And what I also like about, like you said, kind of dipping your toe into the different areas of the Akash is that you're able to feel what resonates with you.
Oh yeah.
Like you're going through the healing and the process at the same time that you're learning how to do it. So while you're going through the process, you're able to say, okay, well, that one, I don't know. I mean, that's okay, but I think I need more time with it. Like for me, it's ancestral healing.
Mm.
When I get into the space of ancestral healing, it's like my entire body goes numb. I feel amazing. I mean, it's just unbelievable how deep that work is and how much transforms in my life. And I like the other stuff too, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
there is going to be that area that you find really lights you up or like you'll
Oh
have
yeah.
that light bulb moment. So that's what I love about it too. So if you guys want to read more about it, you can check with the link in the comments. We're going to post it right after we close this here, and you'll have the opportunity to read about what all the different modules are, all the things you are going to learn in this space, and then just reach out to either of us if you have any
Yeah.
questions that are coming up about the program for sure. So is there anything else that you want to leave them with, Daisy, just in terms of like, if they're ready to grow, if they're ready to transform, they're like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm done. Like this, I'm ready to claim the next version. What would you recommend they do?
Just do it. I think, it seems so simple, but I think that's one of the biggest things too. And that's something that I love to try to help people with, is to simplify. Because when it comes to all this energy, and I think also when we're naturally really intuitive, it's very easy to get overwhelmed or feel like, where do I even begin? Because it's a lot. And that's where you just do it. If
Mhm.
anybody is feeling sort of on the fence about it, or they're feeling like, I think this is for me, but I don't know, do it. Because if you're
Yeah.
feeling drawn to it, even the slightest, it's because there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And again, that's just even starting that ball rolling of really guiding your own intuition and allowing your life to be led by your soul. Because that's what your soul is telling you go to this, do this, this is going to help you.
Yes.
And that's literally turning that on inside you of
Oh,
where you're going to go. Like what?
that is so beautiful. That
Yeah.
is so on point. And I remember, I'm just, as you're saying that, I'm getting that feeling that I had
Yay.
and I was like, oh God, like
Yeah.
it's scary. It can feel scary if you
Oh
haven't
yeah.
been used to listening to your soul's tug. But
Yep.
oh my gosh, like it just keeps opening up your world and opening it up and opening it up and
Yeah,
making you feel better and better. So
exactly.
I love that. Yeah, like just do it, Nike, right? Like
Do it.
it's like the biggest gift that you can give
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
Seriously, it's the most loving thing that you can offer yourself.
Right.
And
And it's something that's going to last forever. That's the
correct.
beauty of it. It's not something like a basic carpentry class or something, you know. I mean, that's
Right.
great. Go ahead, you know, if you like that, that's fine. But it's just it's something that's infinite. That's what's so
Yes.
amazing about it. It's something that is going to last forever.
I
And it's
know.
only something that can grow. It's something that can just always be built upon. So it's this invaluable gift to be able to give to yourself and to just tell yourself that you're worth it. Tell yourself that you are ready and to really empower yourself and to change up, you know, even like your year and just the rest of your life. If you're
Yeah.
feeling unsure about it, it gives you direction, it gives you purpose. So it's so worth it.
Yeah, and just clarity. Like that's
Yeah.
what's so nice. One of my favorite pieces of feedback too is just when one of my students said, and it seems so basic, but it feels so powerful to me. Like I know that I can always go to the Akash for answer for anything in my life,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? And like talk about safety and security, talk about sovereignty, talk about empowerment. Like I can turn to them anytime, 24/7. They're always there, you
Yeah.
know? And oh, it just gives me the chills because it feels like you never have to feel lonely or lost.
Great.
And that was one thing I struggled with for many years, was just feeling this chronic sense of loneliness. And I remember actually doing a live on loneliness,
Yeah.
um, and realized I was like, in the middle of that live, I'm like, oh wait, this has
Yeah.
been gone for a really long time and I didn't even
Right.
realize it, you know?
Yeah.
You get so
Exactly.
accustomed to these things kind of following you around, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to pop the link in the comments as soon as we sign off here. Please feel free to tag us in the comments if you have any questions or if you want to reach out to either of us individually. We are open to that. And we hope you have a fabulous Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.